In this video, we will be continuing to look at the XLOOKUP function in Excel and comparing its long-standing predecessor VLOOKUP to see what advantages XLOOKUP has and why you would use it instead. This will follow on from our previous video looking at the first 4 improvements and advantages of XLOOKUP versus VLOOKUP. If you have not watched that video first, please click the link in the description to watch that now. For this video, we will go through the remaining 3 improvements. We will be referring to a download file, the same download file we referred to in the initial video. If you have not yet downloaded this file, click the link in the description. Number 5. Using wildcards for searching. Both VLOOKUP and XLOOKUP can use wildcards in their search text. For example, with VLOOKUP, if we type *TAY*, the formulas return the values for the first person it finds in the table with Tay within their name. Note that if we change the sort order of the table, it can change the results. But we can't change it away from returning the first matching entry in this case, and we can't stop it from using wildcards. But we will explore things a little later when talking about an exact or a range lookup. As an aside, note also that where entries are blank, e.g. the telephone number in Taylor, the formula returns a 0. A further tip here is that we can tell Excel that for the entire sheet, we don't want to display zeros. To do this, go into File, Options, Advanced, and then under the section headed Display Options for this worksheet, untick where it says Show a 0 in cells that have a 0 value. XLOOKUP doesn't use wildcards by default, but we can turn them on by using its Match Mode feature. For wildcards matching, we enter 2 here. As you can see, if we don't put 2 in the formula, then it will look for an exact match for our search text, and will therefore not find one in this case. Number 6. Range Lookups. This option allows us to look up return values for a range of inputs. Our contacts example dataset isn't ideal for demonstrating this, but it is typically used in scientific or engineering situations. As a simplistic example, suppose you want to return a size choice for a t-shirt dependent on someone's chest measurement. You would set up the table so that the smallest measurement applicable to each size is in the first column, and then the applicable size is in the second column. We can see this in the range lookup sheet of this spreadsheet. Note that we have also added a third column to the table as a reference to explain how VLOOKUP applies the rules. The VLOOKUP formula looks up the measurement we enter and returns the size from column 2. We haven't specified to use an exact match, so it finds the one previous. Note, if we reverse the sort order of the table, it breaks the formula. Worse still, if we sort the table in a random order for the first column, for example by sorting on the size column instead, the VLOOKUP returns the wrong result. The first column has to be in ascending order for the feature to work in VLOOKUP. Now let's look at the equivalent formula using XLOOKUP. To replicate the behavior of VLOOKUP, we use -1 with a dash or minus before the 1 as the setting for its match mode. Note that the XLOOKUP works correctly still when we reverse the sort order or when we use a random order. Much better. Furthermore, we can change the setting of match mode to 1 so that it returns the next larger item instead of the next smaller one. In our case, that's probably a better choice as it's more intuitive to specify the maximum chest size that each t-shirt size will accommodate. Number 7. Search Mode. Finally, there's the Search Mode feature, which doesn't exist at all in VLOOKUP. In its basic form, this allows us to find the last entry rather than the first, as seen here. Note that this does depend on the order of the table. Another feature of the search mode parameter is to invoke binary searching. This matters for large sets of data and improves speed enormously in those cases. We're not going to look at that here, but do subscribe so you can receive a notification when we upload our next video in this series. XLOOKUP can go horizontally too, equivalent to the HLOOKUP function. HLOOKUP was a function designed for tables set out the other way round, where you want to look across the columns for a piece of information and then return a value from a particular row. The prices sheet in the example file shows the kind of data we mean. We will explore using XLOOKUP in this way to replace HLOOKUP, as well as for performing two-way lookups in our next video. Subscribe now so that you can look forward to this in the next video.